What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioS3 Raw TV. Today we're going to talk about the drop sets revisited, as well as failure training revisited, as well as high volume training revisited. Now, the reason why we're going through all this is because there are a lot of things that I'm finding while I'm talking to a lot of different people about different ways that they're training. And I'm noticing that some people, drop sets, they actually do get really good results. I'm sitting there going, why is it some people get this, some people get that, and what is the difference between failure and high volume training, and why would failure training be better than high volume training? Now, let's look at the drop sets. Now, what I have noticed from the drop set training, people talk about, I get great results from drop set training, Jerry, you're wrong. I look at them and it's okay, muscle mass wise, they're not very big, but they are lean. Okay, most of them are lean with good shape and good, fullness. So what is up? Okay, and these certain people, and it's not a lot of people, it really isn't. It's a few people here and there that get the really good results. So I just started digging into more, and there is no proof for this. There's no scientific proof. This is just something that I kind of pulled together in an effort of trying to figure out why, because there really is no information out there as to why this could be happening. Now, what I came together was, there was a time under tension article that I was reading. It was a study done. And the time under tension study was done over the course of 90 seconds. They said about 90 seconds in a set, if you can get the set to last, and that's a minute and a half straight of training, which you can use drop sets, time under tension, and they don't suggest supersets because you're going from one muscle to the other. You need to get the muscle fatigue to get this effect. But jump sets, so really like barbell curls, dumbbell curls, barbell curls, dumbbell curls, like back and forth of the same muscle group for 90 seconds, there's a huge growth hormone spike. Now, whether or not this growth hormone spike will make you grow muscle, is it enough to make you grow muscle? If you keep doing this throughout the workout, is it enough to stimulate that to make you grow muscle? I don't know. But increasing your growth hormone over a certain period of time could definitely get you leaner. Even if, people go like, oh, no, it's true. If you increase your growth hormone naturally using something like GABA or, any of these different growth hormone peptides that people are taking, that's natural growth hormone you're increasing. So you can get results by increasing your natural growth hormone even through training. Now, the central nervous system will take a hit, so you obviously have to make sure you recover, but that, I feel, is a main reason why people do get lean, as well as have that fullness, but don't really gain a whole lot of mass on drop set training. You got Brady squeaking his toy over there in another room. Now, as far as failure training, because people go, Jerry, why is failure training better? How does it work? I don't understand, as opposed to volume training. Now, these are just examples, okay? Let's say you're doing failure training. Every time you contract the muscle, expand, contract, expand. So you're flexing, expanding it. Every time you do that, muscle fibers fire. As they start to fatigue and can't fire correctly, more fibers, start to fire to take up the workload. So let's just say, for instance, you get to the point, and it's not the burn. The burn is not failure. When it hurts to the point you can't move, that's not failure. Failure is when the muscle actually moves. The burn is actually just, here, Brady running around in there. The burn is actually just fatigue and waste buildup from the energy production. So as you start to fail and you have more of these muscle fibers firing, let's say, for instance, on a failure set, you had, just for a number's sake, 1 million fibers fire by the end of that set. And you hit the next set and you get 1 million fibers to fire. Let's say total, between 3 sets, you've had 1 million fibers to fire. Now, not all of them are going to technically be considered growth-inducing sets. Let's say out of those 1 million fibers that have fired, let's say 900,000. So take 100,000 out that actually haven't been stimulated growth-wise, but 900,000 of those fibers haven't been stimulated enough for growth. Now that's 900,000 fibers. Now, let's say you do volume training. You're doing set after set after set after set. Now, you're not reaching failure. So what's happening is, even though you're getting a burn and a pump, you are not firing as many muscle fibers because you're not going past that point of fatigue towards failure where the muscle has to actually pick up more fibers to take over for the ones that are getting tired. You do volume. So you're not pushing yourself per set as hard, and then you're resting. So the next set you do, you're not firing as many muscle fibers to take up for the ones that have already been fatigued. Next set. You're doing this. So let's say by the end of that set, you now have fired, let's say 700,000 fibers have fired by the end of this whole workout. 700,000 to 900,000. Now we got to take off the ones that haven't been stimulated for growth. So let's say it's 200,000. So that's 7,600. That's 600,000 compared to 900,000 fibers that have fired that have been stimulated growth. That's 300,000 fibers more training to failure than there was not training to failure with volume. So you see, you'll get results training with volume, but faster and better results training to failure. Now, there are people out there that have more of the endurance muscle fibers in their body. That's just a makeup. It's a genetic thing. and they're going to get better results doing the higher volume workouts. But the problem with this is even though the muscle fibers themselves are more dominant red muscle fibers, endurance muscle fibers, whatever you want to call them, doesn't mean the central nervous system is going to be able to handle that. So it means the muscle may be able to recover, however the central nervous system can't. So here's where the failure training comes into play. You train to failure, it's a lot less sets, it's a lot less stimulus to the central nervous system over less of a period of time. It recovers faster. Now, when you're talking about going beyond failure, okay, which is some Mike Mentzer stuff, some Arthur Jones stuff, set extenders like drop sets, which are, drop sets that are heavy, supersets, stuff like that, your central nervous system takes a bigger hit at that point. It actually is not the muscle that doesn't recover that can make you overtrain. It's actually the central nervous system that doesn't recover. So you see there's people out there say that you can't overtrain and they do multiple sets. They're not actually overtraining, but they're not actually training the muscle to the point where you're getting the most amount of fibers fired because of fatigue setting in from the absolute pushing your body to the limit and getting as many muscle fibers firing as possible. So I hope this clears up a little bit of stuff, because I get this all the time. They're like, Jerry, why do you insist on training to failure? Why do you do this? And why do you only have to do 3 sets of chest per week? You're able to maintain this. And people will point to past drug use. People will point to everything except for the fact that there's an optimal way to do everything. There's an optimal way to paint a fucking wall. There's an optimal way to cook chicken. You can get a wall painted to cook chicken any way you want. There's going to be a certain way that does it faster, more optimal, with better results than anything else. And building muscle is no different than that. BioStreetTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.BioStreetTraining.com is a blog. It's the optimal training bicep revisited, and we're out.